Ohio, and so I'll recognize, or second round, not the second panel, second round for this panel, to be more precise. So recognize myself for 5 minutes. And talking about flight, they do have some beautiful real estate in North Carolina, but we do have the engineers here in Ohio. So
I knew it was going to go there, Mr. Chairman, but I did start it. So.
Is here in the birthplace of aviation. Now the dialogue with Mr. Huizinga really, I think, highlights the coordination necessary across multiple federal agencies, and of course on Article 7 or Title 7. When you're looking at CFIUS, for example, threat assessments, things like that, it's important. In Title I, I think Chairman Hill highlighted that, if you've got 100 priorities, you really have 0 priorities. But as picking up with the dialogue with Mr. Ormsby, how's the collaboration across agencies going within Title III? And when you think about multiple federal agencies, there are times where FEMA is really the lead coordinator. So what's the overall office doing to kind of coordinate kind of across agencies? Mr. Frankston.
All right, thank you very much for the question. So there is a monthly working group that FEMA hosts for all of the federal agencies that has DPA authorities. DoD happens to have the vast majority of actual DoD appropriation for DPA, but we work hand in hand with our partners when we have challenges or areas that occur or incidents that occur that cross into one of our other interagency partners. We have a fantastic working relationship where we can reach out to someone like energy or transportation to identify opportunities to collaborate. This can be strengthened. We could work at an even higher level, at the executive level, more collaboratively, but again, we work across the interagency. I will add in particular on DPA Title I, Commerce has the lead role, and we have a phenomenal working relationship with Commerce. When we get a prioritization, when we need their help and request, we turn that quick ourselves, and they're turning it back to even quicker to us. So it is a really, really strong relationship.
Yeah, thank you. And I guess it also highlights the importance of how Congress appropriates money. And, Dr. Ormsby, you highlighted several buckets that you're actively managing. When you think about not just the appropriations and the status quo that we have, not just in DPA, but in the procurement, one of the things that DPA does at times is, sort of bridge the gap between status quo thinking, and a lot of times the supply chain functions at least adequately for the status quo. The real question is when you have those moments of crisis where you have to surge, how resilient is the supply chain? How important is it to maybe use some of what we're learning from DPA to look at the rest of the procurement process, or be able to waive even our own procurement process? And I think just to illustrate, SpaceX out there, gave us deep space launch capability that we were for a while dependent on Russia. Atlas is still under development using status quo traditional procurement operations. So at a certain level, the supply chain arbitrage was really part of the success story there. So, how do we make this better?
Yes, Chairman Davidson, thank you for the question. I think you're hitting on a key issue that we have right now. These authorities can really help us to address supply chain issues, but I believe Mr. Frankston said earlier, what we really need to get to, and to your point earlier, if you go to war with the supply chain you have, we need to be more proactive and looking forward, right? Because we've already identified a number of strategic problems in our supply chain where we need to address those issues. These authorities have been very helpful to us in doing that. I think they're just part of the puzzle, to be honest with you. There are a number of other tools that we have also, from our science and technology portfolios to other investment opportunities. But I believe we need a whole of nation approach, honestly, that looks at everything that we have to be able to start to proactively prepare for a surge. What we saw during COVID as the fund jumped up significantly in importance, and number of projects, number of dollars invested, et cetera. We mobilized very quickly. It was an all hands on deck kind of effort. And we have a number of lessons learned in how we've organized now that we've continued to try to be more effective and efficient in identifying issues and setting priorities. But I believe we have to keep that going into the future.
Yeah, thank you both. My time's expired, and I now recognize Chairman Hill for 5 minutes.